I'm starting to forget you, and I thought I'd feel relief when the last of you dissolved into a distant memory, but now there's this weight in my chest, a tugging in my bones, like I'm constantly in search of something I used to know. Like a song I can't remember, a word on the tip of my tongue. In losing you, my heart was loosened, but in forgetting you, I'm undone. A fraction of a person, strewn across the floor. They say time makes it better. I'm not so sure anymore. Because time may seem merciful, but don't be fooled, time's a thief. Time is a criminal dressed up in a costume of relief. So here I am, desperate. Fingernails caked with dirt from digging for a piece of you that will never be unearthed, and oh, I feel so guilty. When I stopped digging, stopped trying to hold on like I was trusted to keep you alive, but now you're truly gone. I used to think forgetting you would fix this empty hole, but it turns out memories are heavier to release than they are to hold. There is no such thing as love that is wasted. Every late night phone call, every laugh until we cry, every inside joke, every meet me between your house and mine, every pizza at 2 a.m., every dance party in your room, every secret handshake, every piece of me and you. This love is forever ours, even though you left too soon. On my worst days, I don't miss you. To miss you is painful, but not missing you means I'm forgetting you. And that is much, much worse. Death is a villain that doesn't ever take one victim at a time. Today I'm holding a funeral for the part of me that died with you. The part of me that loved easily and viewed the world through innocent eyes. I'm picking flowers for the ceremony, decorating the walls of my heart, hanging pictures of the girl that was me, but isn't anymore. I'm mourning myself, crying over the gravestone of memories that used to belong to us, but only belong to me now. Death is a villain that doesn't ever take one victim at a time. When they buried your heart in the dirt, they also buried mine. 91.95 million miles. The distance between the Earth and the sun. But the sun rises every day and I see her. The sun sets every night, and I say goodbye. 6 feet. The distance between your heart and mine. But somehow it feels farther than the distance between the earth and the sun. 91.95 million miles. And I watch the sunset every night. 6 feet. And I never really got the chance to say goodbye. If you've ever experienced intense loss or grief, this book is undoubtedly going to make you cry. The book is a poetry collection, but it's kind of a story too. It follows the author's journey through childhood, friendship, loss, and intense grief. It shows how grief doesn't necessarily have a resolution, but ultimately mortality deepens the experience of life. The book is called Harmony, and you can pre-order it now, and I wrote it. I promise I'm still listening, I'm just resting my eyes. That is what you said, because that's what people who love you do when it's 4 a.m. They sacrifice their sleep to listen. They stay with you as long as they can. There are some people that will drag love into the darkest corners of the night to save you. There are some people who seem to be made of the very substance that ignites shooting stars. You are one of those people. Or were. Talking about you in the past tense isn't easy for me. To me, there's no universe that you don't exist in, so as I break into a million pieces in my bed, when my heart attempts to collapse in on itself at 4 a.m. as I scream curses into my pillow, hoping something will bring you back, I picture the day I last saw your face. And although you couldn't speak, my heart heard what you said. Although I can't see you now, I still hear you from the sky. I promise I'm still listening. I'm just resting my eyes. Missing you comes at the most unexpected times. I'm not sure how you hid pieces of yourself all around my life, but somehow even the sky looks like you sometimes. They say that someday I'm going to see you again. I think that kind of hope makes me sick because it begs me to anticipate the day that I die. I'm not living anymore. I'm just counting the days I go on without you. I think it would be better if I tossed out the idea altogether that the afterlife is the place we are meant to reunite. I would much rather imagine that when you died, you were scattered into the sunlight and the rain. And if I need you, I can find you on ordinary days. If I remember you when that specific song plays, that is enough. They say that someday I will see you again. But I think they must have gone blind because I see you every morning in every sunrise. 91.95 million miles. The distance between the Earth and the sun. But the sun rises every day and I see her. The sun sets every night and I say goodbye. 6 feet. The distance between your heart and mine. But somehow it feels further than the distance between the Earth and the sun. 91.95 million miles, and I watch the sunset every night. 6 feet, and I never really got the chance to say goodbye. The worst part about losing someone you love is that you don't really lose them. The memories, the love you have for them, the sound of their laughter ingrained in your heart, it all stays. Like a ringing in your ears that you try to ignore but you can never seem to shake. It floods your head until nothing else can occupy your brain. The worst part about losing someone isn't the losing, it's the pieces that remain. You know when you try to write a personal letter to someone who's important to you, but they're too close and there's not enough words to describe how you feel, so you stop. That's how I feel writing about grief. Writing about grief for me is dangerous. How do I open a door that people I loved once walked through and never returned? Because the thing about grief is that it isn't something I can talk about conclusively. I would love to tell you that your heartache has a finish line, that eventually your mind won't sink when you remember their smile or their eyes. For the darkness that consumes you when they're gone, I can never give a solution. I can never replace their light. The truth is, the only way to heal entirely is to forget, and when you're grieving, forgetting is the last thing you want to do, so this is what I can tell you. You don't have to take anyone's advice. You don't even have to take mine. Cry when you need to cry and heal in your own time, and remember that there isn't a finish line. The goal isn't to be perfectly content without them. The goal is to take things one day at a time. And remember that the gap between the two of you is only as far as it takes to reach their hand in your mind. Their smile and their laugh can always be found behind closed eyes. It's okay if my words aren't enough to fill what you're fighting, because for me, grief is the letter that I never finish writing. If you ever get the chance to love a person who knows grief, do not let them go. You see, the thing about grief is that it's not exclusive. It consumes life. It taints everything a little gray. It won't hesitate to remind you that everyone and everything you love will disappear someday. But I've found that the people who carry grief love with a fierceness that no one else knows. They understand what's at stake because they've had to let someone go. So they remember the little things, and they show up when it counts. They know that life is rare. You won't have to spell it out, so don't take for granted the people who know loss, for they know more about love because they know what it costs. They say grief is just love with no place to go. But I can't spend another day with love rotting away in my chest. My heart is so full of leftover love, it's beginning to leak through all my cracks. It's spilling onto strangers and overflowing onto friends. It's flooding all the streets. It doesn't seem to end. And I guess it's kind of beautiful, and kind of tragic too, that the world is filling up with all the love that was meant for you.